Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live this Wednesday morning with another Sale-a-bration sample. So we actually only have 2 more weeks, well, really 1 week and a day left in Sale-a-bration. So if you still don't know what it is, if you're just new and joining me for the first time, Sale-a-bration is a big sale that Stampin' Up! Does. They have a full little brochure with free items that you can earn with a $60 or $100 purchase. And some of the items, that's the only way you can get them is to earn them. Others are, in February, they added in a bunch of product from their other offerings from their other catalogs and offered them in as free items. So just to kind of expand what's being offered. But today I'm actually going to highlight one of our $120 free products. Oh, good morning, Kim. This is kind of tucked away in our Sale-a-bration catalog near the back, and I just thought that it needed to be highlighted a bit because it really is a stunning stamp set. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we're going to get started crafting. So here we have the Detailed Dogwood, and I'll just show you in our Sale-a-bration catalog. If I can find it, here we go. So it's tucked in here at the back on page 15, and they've got 2 really beautiful samples here. And they're also suggesting that it pairs up nicely with the Petal Park Builder Punch. I know, Kim, the dogwood is such a special flower here. So I just thought I would show this one off. Plus, I had to get it because it has a dragonfly in it. Although, oddly enough, the card I'm sharing with you today does not have a dragonfly. I've just used the flowers. So this card is actually a case. One of our Stampin' Up! Artisan designers, Michaela Titheridge, created the most beautiful card in boho blue, but it was really an artisan card. There was a lot of embossing and splattering with paint, and like it was a beautiful, beautiful card. So I wanted to create something a little bit simpler for, you know, those of us who aren't artisans, but maybe want to feel like we are. So this is what we've got going on for today. So because the Detailed Dogwood stamp set does not have any sentiments in it, I decided to pair it up with the Notes of Nature for 2 reasons. It has my all-time favorite birthday sentiment in it, but also because it has the splatter, which was going to allow me to do a little bit of the splattering that Michaela Titheridge did on her card, but without having to get out water painters and inks and all of that. I just need to do a little bit of stamping. So that is what we are doing today. So I've got everything prepped here. Now you will notice that the card I've got here is a sample, and the card I'm going to make today, I'm actually using gold sequins to embellish it. But the one that I used in my advertisement, which ones were they? Did I even not write it down? Oh, it was the adhesive back sparkle gems that I used, but I actually ran out of them. So we're going to switch it up and put in gold instead. It works just the same. So the prep for this card is actually very, very simple. The beauty of this comes all from the stamping. So it's just really a card base, a piece of crumb cake, and the largest Stylish Shapes banner. That's all we have going on here. And then we're going to do a lot of magic with just 2 inks, just Early Espresso and Crumb Cake. So I am going to start with my Early Espresso. Why not? So we're going to open that up and place that there. And the first thing we're going to do is grab the big dogwood stamp from the Sale-a-bration set, and we're going to ink it up with, and actually I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to bring my ink pad to my image. We're going to ink it up with Early Espresso ink. There we go. And then I am going to stamp this so that my stem ends up about the middle of my card. There we go. And then I am going to re-ink this and do it all over again. Now you can stamp it the other way, or what I prefer to do is I'm just going to turn my cardstock around and stamp this exactly the same. So there we go. So just like that. So now we've got 2 dogwoods on there going in opposite directions. Put that down over there. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is add some of that splatter around. So I'm going to take my splatter here. Now I can stamp off onto, actually, you know what? I will. But I'm going to move these out of the way. So I'm stamping off somewhere off to the side. So I'm going to actually stamp off before I come in and stamp these onto my card. There we go. So just a little bit of splatter on there. Now I've stamped off to the side. When I originally made this card, I actually highlighted the dogwood using a crumb cake blend. But for this card, because I've stamped off onto my desktop and I've got that early espresso sitting there, I'm just going to actually go grab a blender pen and we're going to use that. So my blender pens are very, very old. They still have their blue packaging from, I don't know, a million years ago. And what you do with a blender pen is it's really just a clear ink. It allows you to blend like watercolor pencils and stuff like that. But I can come in here, pick up some of this color, and then I'm just going to use it gently to color in just a little bit on my flowers. Just do a little bit of highlighting here. So really not much. Okay, and I'm just doing the flowers, not the leaves. And just where I want just a little bit of highlighting going on. Okay, right in there. And you really don't need much, especially since I want this to be light. There we go. And so I'm just adding this. I like this actually a bit more than when I use the crumb cake blend, because the crumb cake blend really blended in and then like you couldn't really see that I had done anything. So this is actually a nicer alternative to get some color in here. And then I'm going to come back to the first ones that I did and I'm going to extend that, but you're going to see that now it's much lighter, which is fantastic. That's what we want. Okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to give those some more color. Give that some more color. And so it's just helping those flowers kind of pop out off of the background. There. All right. And so it's going to be a slightly different card than my sample, just because I'm using the blender pen, and this is also grabbing some of the ink that's actually on our paper. That's the nice thing about blender pens. Now you do want to be quite light and quick in your touch though, because they can pill your paper if you go over an area too much. All right, just about done. I've got 2 more flowers I think here. So it's really helping these flowers pop. All right, just about done. And so all this is doing, it has no color of its own. It's just grabbing the color that I picked up off my table and the color that we've got on our cardstock. And then to clean it, you just wipe it off until it doesn't leave any marks. It's quite squeaky when you do that on. I should use a blender pen. Does it lighten up a little bit, but not too much. Oh, hi, Elaine. You actually didn't miss too much. I've just done a little bit of stamping with some flowers. All right, so I'm going to now wipe this up. Oh, that has a lot of water in it. All right, there we go. So that's all cleaned up, and we're going to go on to the next parts. So yeah, the blender pen lightens up slightly, just the way a lot of our inks lighten up as well, but not a ton. Okay, so with that all done, we are now going to use crumb cake ink, and we're going to grab a blending brush, and we're going to blend the edges of this. Where's my blender brush? There we go. So I didn't want to use early espresso for the blending on the edges because it would be very dark, like the flowers have gotten quite dark. And I want this blending on the edges to be really subtle. So I'm going to blend a bit more at my corners than I am anywhere else. And then kind of just go lightly along the edges. There we go. And so what that does is it makes kind of a darker edge on our card and then a lighter, brighter center. And so kind of that vintage look. Yeah. All right. Actually, I'm going to leave that out because we're going to do this again on another piece in a moment. So there we go. We've got that. I am just going to give my table just a quick wipe. Not that it matters because everything we're doing today is going to get this vintage look to it. So it won't really matter if we've got stuff everywhere. So now this layer, we're going to take a piece. This is the burlap ribbon. This is actually from, this was a great one at Christmas. It's the burlap and red ribbon combo. As you can see, I pretty much used all my red ribbon. So I thought it was time to dip into the burlap. The red ribbon goes so quickly at Christmas, I find. Now, to attach this, I'm actually not going to attach it at all across the front. I am going to use some Seal or Seal Plus on the back. Just 2 little dabs. Now, when I do this, I tend to attach one side, but then I flip it back over to make sure. Oops, that's actually a little bit high. There we go. This is why we check. It's still a bit high. I want it to cover up the ends of my stems. So there we go. Tuck that, make sure it's straight, and then tuck that. So now we have just a piece of ribbon straight across the front of our card, but it's not attached along the front, which is going to be important because we're going to be tucking some gold cord under there. But we're going to do that later. So this piece is now ready to attach to our card front. And I have no liquid glue here with me today, so I'm going to do this the dangerous way. Well, dangerous for me. I'm going to use some Seal Plus. I'm at the end of my Seal Plus. Oh my goodness. I think I've been doing too much crafting. I am running out of all my adhesives. Yeah, I'm at the red end on that. Okay, let's see here. What else have I got? I've got regular Seal. There we go. I have been trying to get through some old paper pumpkins. So I've been doing a lot of crafting. And I guess I used up a ton of stuff. Okay, so, well, that didn't turn out so bad. I'm usually not great at putting things down straight and need the liquid glue, but that worked out. All right, so I know I do have glue, Kim. It's just not right here with me, and I'm being kind of lazy. So I have a lot of glue, actually. All right, so that's our card base all set and ready to go. I'm going to set that off to the side because we're now going to work on our little sentiment label. Now, I am going to cheat because I just could not possibly line this up without it. We unfortunately no longer sell our, oh my gosh, I've forgotten what this thing was called. That's crazy. Our fancy thing. The only one you can buy now is Misty. Everybody else had to pull theirs from the market. So if you've got any kind of tool that's going to help you line things up, this is going to go so much more smoothly. If you don't, then, you know, put it on a block and do your best. I do find that using like the grid paper does help. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab just a random color and put it underneath. That's going to hold up that edge. I am going to, Stamparatus, thank you. I am going to ink up my polka dot image with crumb cake. And then I'm going to take my sentiment label here. I'm going to line it up with, so that the bottom of my polka dots that I've already stamped on my mat here are right at the bottom. And then close that. And voila, I have polka dots across the bottom of my label. Oh, I know, I broke one of mine too. It still works. So with that done, we can now move on to finishing up this label. So if you do not have a Stamparatus or anything like a Stamparatus, my best suggestion to you would be, well, here, I'll actually show you guys. I have a second label we can do this with. All right, I'm going to clean up this image, and I'll show you what you can do. It's just a little bit more work, but you'll definitely be happy with the results. Okay, so I'm going to peel that off of there. There we go. Put that away. So you are going to need a block big enough for this guy. Let's see. Do I have any free blocks? Haha. That's the big question. I don't have any free blocks. Okay. We're going to clean up our dogwood too, so that I can show you guys how to do this. So because this is such a long stamp, you do need a larger block for it. And of course, it's not going to fill up a ton of the block. So you're going to want to put it on one of the edges of the block. That's for sure. All right. Now, so that cleaned, I can pull that off. There we go. So we're going to put this, I'm actually going to put it down onto here. Then I'm going to put my block down onto it. So there we go. We've picked that up on our block. Now I am actually going to ink this up. Now you could do this on paper and it might even be a bit easier. But whatever you do, you want it done on something that has a grid. That's the key. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line up the top of my block with that line and put that there. Now you guys can't really see it, but I can see those polka dots. Now I can put, oops, I want to use one that I haven't stamped on. Duh. I can put this down. Oh, I've stamped on that. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we'll do the other side. I can put that down so that it's lined up with the dots that I can see. Sorry, you guys can't. Then I'm going to re-ink this. I'm going to line this up again. So the nice part about this is I'm lining it up with the top of the block and with the grid lines that I already had. And then there you go. I've got those dots all done up. So do this on paper, do this on the glass mat. It doesn't really matter which one. But you're using the block to do your lining up, not the stamped image. That's the important part, because your block is much more straightly cut and everything than your stamped image might be. And then there you go. We've got those polka dots all done perfectly. All right, so that is how you can do that. Okay, next thing is to stamp our sentiment on here. Now, this is my sentiment that I took out of the Notes of Nature. And so, oh, my table is quite wet. I don't think I wrung this out quite well enough. I'm just going to wring that out onto my silicone mat. And here we go. I was so worried about it drying up that I might have left it a little too wet. All right, so we're going to ink up our sentiment with Early Espresso now. Now, I do like to stamp mine horizontally. I find I can line it up better. And my happy birthday is going to go down into my polka dot area, and that's okay because it's much darker. So it's going to stand out and be just fine. Then we're going to bring back the crumb cake, and we're going to just do the bottom of this sentiment. So we're going to come in here. And just sponge the bottom. There we go. Now we can wipe up some of that. Yeah. Okay, so now that's all done. Just a really nice light dusting there. And we're ready to attach this to our card. So to attach this, I am actually going to use dimensionals. And I want to make sure that this is really going to stay down flat. So I'm actually going to use the edging of my dimensionals. Yeah, the small brushes are so good for that. So I'm just going to kind of measure that and measure that. And I'm going to do like a full length, basically, of just the skinny edging. And I'm going to put that across the top. And I'm going to put that across the bottom. And now this is going to go on either side of my ribbon and really keep my whole sentiment down flat, just like that. So you could use less. You could just do like one on each end, but I really like how this is going to keep it really secured. Okay, so like that. And I just lined up the centers of my label with my ribbon. I did put it a little bit more to the right though, on purpose, because I'm now going to take some gold trim. This is from the Simply Elegant pack. You get gold and silver rolls. And I'm going to tuck that underneath. I'm going to cross them over and pull it tight so it cinches that ribbon. And then I'm going to do my bunny ears and make a bow here. Okay, come on. Work for me this morning. There we go. All right. And then just see which way it wants to flop and go with it. All right. And then I'm just going to kind of twist those back and forth till I get the bows the way I want them and the size I want them. once I got that done, I like this stuff because you can kind of run your fingers over it and change like how it's falling. And then there are my snips. I'm just going to grab my snips and trim up the ends. There. And then our final step for this card, oops, is to push that back down. There we go. And I'm going to grab my embellishment. So I just got some gold sequins here. And I'm just going to pop those on and decorate this. Let's see. I'm going to do that one all the way up there. There we go. And that is our finished card. So that's how you can use this gorgeous detailed dogwood stamp to create a, it's actually a pretty simple in terms of like what you're doing, but really fancy looking card. Oh, hi, LA. Thanks. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so that is this week's Sale-a-bration sample. So pairing up the detailed dogwood with the notes of nature. And I'll just bring back the original. So they are a little bit different because I colored the flowers on this new one and I didn't on the first one. So you can kind of decide, you know, which look you like the best. Oh, I see. I also put down my embellishments differently. Yeah, it's a totally vintage look. So the color scheme, I actually got the idea from our newest birthday card kit. You may have seen it. I think it was last week, or maybe it was Sunday, because I had some time on Sunday over the holidays. But anyways, one day last week, I was working with our new birthday sparkle kit, and it's all in the early espresso crumb cake, white and gold. And it really got me inspired to keep creating with that color palette. And so that's how this card came about. So yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. I will be back again next week with the last Sale-a-bration sample. And if I'm lucky, I'm actually going to be able to pop on sometime this coming up weekend and show you guys the newest paper pumpkin as well, but we'll see. It's my sister's birthday. Well, it was actually my sister's birthday on Monday, but we're celebrating this coming up weekend. And so I've got a lot going on the weekend, but I don't know, maybe I'll find some time. I hope so. Yeah, so we'll see you guys all really soon. Do know with a week and a half left in Sale-a-bration, you don't want to miss out on these freebies, especially this detailed dogwood. It's so beautiful. So I do have a link for ordering. And then I also have some upcoming classes. I have a in-person coffee and card class on March 23rd. And that's not ours, LA. Ours is the week before. I also have a Trusty Tools Stamp Camp coming up, which you definitely have to register for before Sale-a-bration ends because it requires the Trusty Tools Sale-a-bration paper. So yeah, we've got those two things going on and a few more things that I've got planned going on in the background that you'll hear about really soon. All right, have a great day, everyone.